Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Thought I'd make a quick impromptu video. So yeah, usually I thought of making a podcast style format type video where I just upload shit I ramble on, and then after I'm done just slap a label. Not a clickbait label, like a sellable label. And that's one way of I was planning to do this podcast, but I'm also trying to be very on the fly, kind of ad hoc. Like I don't have any routine or plans. I'm a man without a plan. I don't know what I don't know what was the code. Do I look like a man? I'm a man of my word. I don't know why. I don't know what's happening to me. Yeah. So another way of doing it is like think of something, and then just have it at the back of your mind. It's some topic that's on your mind that I want to talk about, and then just talk about it. So that's basically what I'm doing right now. I just want to get it out of my system. So basically, it's on assumptions. As Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living. And I'm like, I look shifty, like, looking sideways, like, as if cops are trying to chase me or something. But anyway, so yeah, so unexamined life is not worth living. So I'm talking about questioning assumptions that Leo Gura would like to talk about going balls deep. Like when you talk about questioning assumptions, first there are several layers to it. Like first of all, there is the basic one, like how do you know the earth is round? Or well, then again, that's like level two in my opinion. It was like how do you know the I guess let's start with basic ones. How do you know the apple is red? How do you know it's not? But I'm talking about more deviant, more diabolical assumptions that people hold. See, when I took epistemology, I think it was epistemology or critical thinking, logic. No, I think it was. I forgot what it was. It was in Cypress College, and one of the things is like they wanted to find your blind spot, and we did the survey, and it's like everyone has a blind spot, no matter what. Another thing is, it's like they would ask like, "Oh, what do you think of abortion? What do you think of free will?" and blah blah blah, and it's like no matter what you answer, however way you slice it, it's like you'll always be have some certain contradictions. For example, if you think that free speech, and then another way people will be like, oh, this happened, what do you think of what should happen to this guy? And it's like weird to explain. I don't know, it was a long time ago what was the quiz, but basically I think the quiz was something called what's your philosophical assumptions, or what's your philosophical something like that. But anyways, the point being, everyone has assumptions, and people no matter how logical you are, if you're the types of not Ben Shapiro, yeah, even Ben Shapiro, Mr. Facts don't care about feelings, or Sam Harris, or Michael Sharma, or James Randi, or Christopher Hitchens, or rest in peace all these guys. But no matter how logical your purport you to be, if you can be a Nobel laureate, Roger Penrose, or you can be the most anal, retentive, anal, rigorous, so-called quote-unquote rigorous, analytical minded, logical person. It's not as if you fucking use logic in your line of thinking, no matter how rational you are. It's like you don't, I took symbolic logic class, epistemology. It's like there are like equations, and it's like modus ponens, modus tollens. It's like people are not fucking figuring out modus tollens. They're not doing equation in the fucking head, digital logic circuitry in the zand and nor, and they're not fucking doing those logical calculations coming to a fucking conclusion. And that's with no matter any philosopher, like you can't make any statement out boldly, like. So I'm talking about when you talk about examining your assumptions, I'm talking about like, okay, like as Leo Gura says, going balls deep to like, why is weakness such a bad thing? I'm talking about not the banal ones, like, oh, question your assumption. Why is just because one black guy hurts you doesn't mean all? Oh, fuck that. I'm talking about light years beyond that stage. I'm talking about question everything, like a little child would. Like, and once you keep digging and digging, you realize everything is based on fucking faith and blind faith and belief, that your subconscious programming, the way you're raised. It's like there's nothing written in stone in logic. It's like you cannot say, hard work is virtuous. Why? According to who? Or like I'm talking about the most counterintuitive ones. Like people think, oh, don't blame others for your failure. Why? I mean, people assume as if there is some, like assume that the whole world, the universe came with a instruction manual and a booklet, and you have to piece it together atom by atom, logic, like Euclidean geometry universe, and build something, and you can follow it like as if like a mathematical diagram or schematic where A follows B, B follows C, therefore A follows C. Even that, why does hypothetical syllogism, why should A implies B, B implies C, therefore A implies C? That's just nothing. But entire all these people, so-called scientists, philosophers, debaters, intellectuals, and analytical people. I mean, basically, it's like fucking they're blowing air out of their ass, and that's basically it. And they're just covering it up with the patina or something like that resembles something like structure and logical structure, but everything is like questioning assumptions, dude. It's like it's like a child, that's what a child does. And why is the sky blue? Oh, because the light is refracted, and I don't even know why the sky is blue. The light is refracted through the atmosphere and is bent at a certain angle, and your eye picks it up. Well, how do you know that? How do you even know that I'm talking about like root level, radical level of skepticism, like Pioneers, like from ancient Greece, of Sextus Empiricus from Rome, or like I think it was Roman. But yeah, it's like I'm talking about questioning the most things that most people don't even dare to question, like lying is bad. Why? Killing is bad. Why? Obviously, I mean, again, disclaimer: don't go fucking do stupid shit. I mean, yeah, and I'm not liable or legally liable for anything. I'm just disclaimer is for philosophical discussion and debate. So anything you debate, anything you people think, oh, what is logic? What is logic? What is logic? Logic? Why is logic logical? What do you? And people talk about always say, oh, define this, define that. They talk about all this, this. This mouthful of this superfluous sort of word salad like Jordan Peterson or whatever, and they'll talk about, oh, this post-structural nihilism, and then people rightly will interject and say, okay, hold on a minute, what do you mean by post-structural and nihilism? Again, I'm making shit up, but the point being, you make people stop dead right in the track when they do that. So when someone says, okay, for example, free will. I was listening to Sam Harris. I think he does have a very interesting, unique insight on free will. But what most people, like his podcast with Lex Fridman, he didn't even define what free will is. He assumes that everyone knows what free will is and everyone is on the same page. So you go and ask, oh, Sam Harris, what do you mean by free will? Define free will. And then he'll give you a fucking, I don't know, textbook dictionary definition or his own version of definition. And you get to a stage and you ask, okay, define that. What do you mean by what? Like what? What do you mean by what? Everyone assumes like they know what is. So there's obviously the barrier of language, but there's also the barrier of reason. Not everything can be reasonably deduced. Or on the contrary, on the corollary, not the corollary. Is it corollary? I don't even know what corollary means. The point being, the other thing, like something could be highly logical, but that could be logical to some other person. I'm talking about, suppose I can say, oh, the tree over there caused my mom to drink milk. You'll be, what the fuck? And you can find, sure enough, that to be like that could sound absolutely preposterous and absurd. But if you can, one can always draw a line and delineate a causal chain of relationship where it's like, oh, okay, maybe the tree. There's a squirrel in the fucking tree. He came, and the car screeched to a halt, and then that caused my brother. I don't even have a brother, and my brother to be dizzy, and then he went home, and he got sick. So my mom made a soup, and while she was making a soup, she was pouring, she was making corn soup, and then she was pouring milk in the cauldron. I don't know why I said cauldron, like kettle, in the dish, and the and then she drank 3 sips of milk. So basically, the tree of the oak tree caused her to drink milk. I mean, perfectly logical to some person. On the other hand, if you say, oh, I don't know, the baseball batter hit the ball, and I don't know, scored a home run. I don't know nothing about baseball, no cricket. But the point being, you have to prove every atom of the ball that touched every atom of the bat, not every atom of the bat, a certain region, and it came into perfect. It could very well be the ball, as it was going to make contact with the bat, was probably there was some bizarre repulsive, I don't know, gravity or something, like a gravity that like a gravitational field that repulses you, and the ball didn't even touch the bat, and it was sort of magnetic, and I mean, anything can happen. How do you prove just because A caused B, A caused B? I can slap you, you cannot prove that I slapped you. Then I'll ask, what do you mean by I? What do you, I mean, these tend like solipsism, but these are very serious allegations. These are very serious questions that must be answered. That's why we still don't have the answer to the paradox. This statement is false. Is it true or false? We'll never have there, because logic, reason will always have a blind spot. So basically, I wanted to start, and that's why these videos never go the way that I want, the way I want, because I have something in my mind. It's like in my mind, I'm articulating like fucking James Bond and Tom Hiddleston and fucking, I don't know, with all the swagger and coolness. But when I speak, it's like I'm nervous, and I just had coffee, and I'm like fucking blurting shit out at 100 miles. What are the knots? What do you mean by knots? I don't know why I said knots. I don't know why okay, the point being, so yeah, when you question your assumptions, when you don't question your assumptions, people, that's why we have so much internet argument, and nobody's on the same page. It's like, because it's like fucking incoherence of the incoherence. It's like everyone is mad and is blabbering. See, this is why Zen and Indian philosophy, I'm not sure about Indian philosophy, but especially Zen nonsense, they understood it. So Alan Watts was illustrating an example in a story. A Zen master, how a roof was leaking, and then the Zen master asked two people to fix it. So one guy got a bucket to to contain the water, and the master chastised him. On the other hand, one guy brought a sieve, and the master praised him. So as Alan Watts was saying, even though the latter was not really bright, but the thing is, he did it in the spirit, in the spur of the moment, in the spirit, in a sort of like an empty mind. So yeah, it's like, suppose some guy, he's all healthy, he doesn't smoke, he's all buff and built, he goes to college, he gets a perfect degree, he gets a perfect girl, he has a perfect family, gets a perfect job. That is no different than some heroin addict in the back alley who's fucking wasting his life away being a loser. There is literally no difference between success and failure. That's my interpretation of that Zen story. It's like, I mean, it's like ultimately, it's like, just like to the Zen master, to him, it was not about the action, but the spirit of the mind. I'll even go even farther, like even the spirit of the mind doesn't even matter. Obviously, these are non-duality shit, and I mean, you want to pay your bills and you can be grounded, but at the same time, if you really want to question shit, it's like, universe, as I was telling my parents today, the universe is 45 billion light years across. I guess that's the diameter. I don't know if that's the radius or diameter. I think that's the diameter. But the point being, imagine this whole, you see this? Actually, it works better if there's a room. Imagine your bedroom. Even if the universe, your existence on a galaxy or on a world is just as tiny, it's not even a speck of dust. It's like, it's so minute and so insignificant. It's a fucking matter if you pass college, get a degree, or like be a loser, fucking. And that's the whole fucking joke of life. That's the whole fucking variety. Is like God or the Godhead or the Brahman. He can appear in any fucking form, in a fucking iguana, a fucking frill-necked lizard, or a fucking, I don't know, corrupt yogi guru, or like a king, bombastic, braggadocious king. You don't know if you agree that everything is manifestation of God, and everything is God in disguise, million masks of God, then ultimately nothing fucking matters. And it's not supposed to be nihilistic or fatalism. I don't even know what fatalism is. I just picked it up like a couple of days ago. But point being, that's what I was telling my mom. If an ant, it doesn't fucking matter in the ant's life if it takes right or left, if it comes to a cross, like a crossroad. Because imagine you talk about Schrodinger's paradox or Riemann hypothesis, PNP. That it's like to ant, it's like so far removed. It's like completely pointless. And I'm talking about high level abstract shit that ant has. It's like an iron bull biting an ant or a fly or whatever. It's so beyond comprehension. Or similarly, universe in reality, God is like so ineffable, and the inner workings. It doesn't matter if you take DMT or not. I haven't. It doesn't matter how psychedelic. Best psychedelic investigation is by questioning more like the inquiry, like why did this happen? Why this? And you'll see everything is based on faith or vacuum or blind faith. It's like there's no fucking basic foundational bedrock on which everything stands. So yeah, going back to the ant example, it's like forget about Riemann hypothesis, PNP logic, or like Einstein's theory. It's like it doesn't even matter if the ant lives or not, or like or if ant had their own university or success or failure. Ant can be a fucking total loser if it was an ant world and be nothing, and still it really would not make any fucking scintilla, fucking flinching fucking difference in the whole fucking world. Similarly, it doesn't matter what the fuck you do. You can be fucking the next Galileo. You can be the next fucking Leonardo da Vinci. You can be the king. You can be Ozymandias. You can be who the fuck ever you want. At the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter if you're a loser. It doesn't fucking matter if you're a success. So, and all these can be unearthed archaeologically, mental, psychic, archaeologically, if you ask the question, or just keep asking, battering away, chipping it away. Why is it true? Why should this be? And you still come to vicious, and then you'll eventually come to a paradox of vicious circle. Well, yes is no, no is true, no is yes, true is false, because everything will whittle down to paradox. It's like, yeah, a vicious cycle, infinite regress. So it's like, and what I mean by assumption, I'm not talking about like stereotypes, or just because one Muslim is bad doesn't mean every Islam is a terror. I'm talking light years beyond that, like questioning things that society takes for granted, like especially right now. This is the reason why these people, the self-help gurus, Sam Harris or Jordan Peterson, even Joe Rogan, these people are so popular. It's not they're popular. They're popular in a very niche. I don't know why my voice is so fucking squeaky. Because of my coffee, I'm dry, I think. But still, I'm very nervous and I'm walking. I don't know. These are excuses. But then again, question the assumption. What's wrong with making excuses? People has this blind categorical difference between good and bad, evil, and that's why the Zen were light years ahead of it. As the master said, one guy was in a kitchen, and the cook and the guy asked him a question, and the master said, "I'll tell you the answer later." And as he went to the garden, he was pointing to the bamboo trees and said, "What a long one that is! What a short one that is." These are my artistic, creative coloring and interpretation. But the point being, and at that moment, the student was awakened. Because everything is relative. But when you say everything is relative, that's an absolute statement. So is that statement relative or absolute? Maybe everything. See, people like Sam Harris or other people, sort of stalwarts, intellectual juggernauts, they think you can reason away everything. Everything is all this so-called rational minded person reason, as if, dude, reason is as it's just an illusion. It's a facade. It's like it doesn't take much to break it down. It's like you just question it. It's like why something must hold true. Why must that hold true? Eventually it's like it's a bullshit, dude. So as I was saying, I think I covered pretty much everything I wanted to say. I rambled. Yeah. So I'm talking about question the base whenever you see a comment on YouTube that gets 9,000 no, 9 billion likes, and there's one guy probably disliking it, the video, or probably a negative soul dissenter, and she gets no like. Even that guy has a point, and maybe those 9.4k people, they're all or 9 zillion gazillion people, they're all wrong. How do you know? People see, even though we're fucking 2022, and the life has been what 15 billion years, the universe, we still act as if there's certain as if we tick away boxes. We're supposed to do this. You're supposed to be a good little citizen. You're supposed to be a law-abiding citizen. Grow up to be do this, the good boy, and the pray, or like depending if you're religious or not, or go to school, or like it's like tradition. It's like structure and restraint and societal matrix. I don't want to talk about matrix, but what I'm trying to say is like the game is the same. Even the religious pursuit, that is still a sort of a pursuit. So it's like this is why I don't do anything now. What I mean by is like I didn't want to do this video. I made a video, another alternate channel called Nisargadatta Maharaj and Disneyland. That's, I think, best way to live. It's like, sage doesn't argue. Raymond Smullyan said that. So it's like the least you interact with the universe. By what I'm in short, too court. That's French for y'all. What I meant is that what I was gonna say. Oh, Nisargadatta Maharaj and Disneyland. Imagine you go through Disneyland. You just enjoy the ride and fucking get off. Admire the dinosaurs and the fucking skeletons or whatever. I don't know. I'm talking about fucking 1980s when I went to Disney World in Florida. And the armada of ships, pirates battling, Western. Just imagine that. But imagine you start questioning, oh, who's the guy who played the Western cowboy in that show, in the performance? What was his name? Which school he went to? Or like a dinosaur. You start figuring out what's the electrical mechanic, or like how does that cog and wheel work? How does the motor work? Who has the pattern? Who the fuck cares? But that's essentially what you do. I'm not saying don't be inquisitive. If you like doing that, go ahead. Feel fucking yeah. In one sense, ignorance is bliss. But it's like a rabbit. It's a trap. It's a rabbit. How far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? It's like, I mean, it's similar. But that's what everyone does. I do it. Everyone does it. We watch a movie. We go to a review. We analyze it. Blah. But the best way I found out is just eat your fucking hot dog and just shut up. Stop reviewing it, and then stop reviewing the fact if the review went well, and like fucking shut the fuck up. I mean, it's like yeah. So that's the best way to live. Is this life is a beautiful ride, but you don't have to fucking take interest in everything. I mean, it's just not only is exhausting, it's a trap. Plus, like for instance, this was completely ad hoc. I thought of making like a proper podcast. I'm an ass. A proper podcast, but then this is just unfurled. It just happened. I mean, because this is why I don't, and probably it has to do with my mental problem. Like I can hold a job. It's like because if I do this podcast, then suddenly I'll be chasing that. Then it'll be a chore. Just like best way to write a book, some of the best. This is why I can finish a book, because first of all, the Google Docs sucks balls. So after 10 pages, the cursor becomes increasingly thinner, and it takes forever to scroll down. You don't get a good. And the sandbox vibe, I fucking hate sandbox. I miss when Word was better, and then even Word now is becoming too sandboxy. But the point being, what the fuck I'm rambling about? Yeah, Google Docs. I don't like Google Docs. The best part is when you have a blank page and you're free to write whatever you want. But Even YouTube, when you open a YouTube like a new account, it's all brand new. So that's the best part. But then eventually, I was like, if I get a job, eventually it becomes a chore. It's like Conan talked about how he hated himself every time he walked down his studio, trying to get to his show, because and that's the thing. People make life a fucking chore, a competition. Oh, I must grit and teeth. I must lose at this point pound. I must be healthy. I must be relaxed. I must be funny. I must be. Everything's a fucking competition, and everything's a fucking. It's an ego fest and an ego trip, and everything is a fucking. So that's the thing. It's like, and that's the society we live in. It's like art, things like we were supposed to do for fun as a kid, play, telling jokes, having good time. Everything's become fucking commercialized, monetized, competitive, algorithm, viral, SEO. Everything is like that. So then that becomes another trap. That becomes another chase. That becomes another treadmill, hamster wheel thing. So that's why I'm like, fuck it. I don't even have any. So does it mean one shouldn't have goals? Again, I found that when you realize that we don't have to do any shit that we don't want to, there are no goals in life, nothing is written in stone. Like Neil Donald said, there's no blackboard that says you must live like life is this. Basically, it's free for all, and so yeah. When I realized there is no, I can basically, like Eric Parkland talks about Janani, non-duality teacher, and yeah, I think I like the fact that he talks about Johnny has no preference. Doesn't mean that Johnny doesn't, you stick a iron hot rod in his stomach, he's not gonna get burned. But what I mean by preference is like, before it was like fucking Taylor Swift, I fucking hated, and now it's like the mood is right, the Taylor Swift, it's like it doesn't bother me anymore. It's like, so I hope I'm like, right now I'm at the stage, I hope I can sustain that stage where I'm not bothered by preferences or like either or. It's like, but doesn't mean that 100%. It's like I let universe take me wherever I want to. It's like I still shape and sculpt and mold and to the way I want to. But what the fuck? So the original thing I want to talk about was questioning assumptions. People don't even question the basic fucking assumptions. I mean, of the most things that they take at face value. Why is good good? Why is rich and why is healthy even good? Like, I'm talking about basic common sense notions that people take for granted. Like, why is this guy better than that guy? Why is the guy who doesn't smoke, who's completely ripped, he's rich, why is his lifestyle better than some fucking loser across the street? It's like, oh, that's one. I was thinking of a lot of assumptions, like, you have to say like, oh, yeah, another one is conditional. If this, then that. It's like another one that people does that are not even aware of. It's like, I mean, and it's like you can be religious nut job like Matt Walsh and still have so many blind spot assumptions. You can also be intellectual sort of stalwart like Sam Harris and still have ton of fucking assumptions and blind spot and axioms, because that's what human is. It's like, it's not not even Spock computes some fucking linear logic, like equations and fucking first order logic and like figures, like sequential statements, like, I forgot it was a long time ago, but I'm talking about, yeah, it's more like it's not even para-consistent. It's like universe, I don't even know what universe is. It's like there's a Korean movie coming out, Everything Everywhere at the Same Place or something like that. I think Korean or Chinese, yeah, but I think it's going to be different, it's going to be good. But yes, universe is probably like that. Everything's probably happening at once. Everything is, everything isn't. It's like paradox. And although logic is starting to embrace paradox, people are still so in the dark ages. It's like suppose there's a TV show. Some guy says something in a very articulated, proper, in a polite way. He gets clapped. He gets all, and the